I am looking for teachers, or I suppose anybody with a pension, but specifically teachers who are seriously looking at their retirement planning. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see is when you wait till your last year or two and say, okay, I got to get some stuff figured out. You know, I'm entering my 28th year. I've got 2 years left. I'm almost there. I hope that's not the case. Because if that's the case, you've probably missed the boat on some of the stuff building up to your retirement that should be an amazing feeling. I retired 5 years ago and I haven't looked back since. It's been the best thing I ever did. There are aspects of the job that I miss, but a lot of it I don't. And you guys, the teachers, know what I'm talking about. This is what I want you to think about. Have you put all the things in place that you need to feel comfortable that you are going to just glide into retirement nice and smooth? For so many people, it's super stressful. There's anxiety, there's fear. What am I going to do with all my free time? How am I going to pay my bills because my pension is less than my salary? Of course, those are all legitimate questions, but that's why you have to plan. There are certain things that you have to do to make sure that you don't have issues with your finances, that you do have kind of a plan, whether it's a hobby or a part-time job or whatever you're vacationing, whatever you're going to do. You got to have all that planned out. And I hope that you're not waiting until your 50s to start thinking about that stuff. Ideally, and I wish I would have done this when I was younger, ideally in your 20s, which I'm sure there's not a lot of people on here that are in their 20s. If there are, that's great. But your 20s are long gone, your 30s are long gone. Some of you might be in your 40s. A lot of you are probably in your 50s like me, early 50s. So the earlier you think about this stuff, the easier it's going to be. Mostly in terms of growing your retirement accounts to a sizable amount that can supplement your pension, and then it takes a lot of the worry away. So again, I wish that when I was in my early 20s, when I started at 22, I wish I would have been pumping this stuff full steam. I was contributing to retirement accounts, but just a very small amount. You're right out of college. I don't know about you, but I was broke right out of college, so it's like $50 a check. And then you bump it to $100 a check or 75 or whatever. But you got to keep bumping it. And I'm not saying, you know, you're putting in $800 a check because that seems unreasonable, but some people do. But anyway, it doesn't matter what happened in the past because you can't go back and change that. You can only move forward, and however much time you have until you retire, you got to get some stuff figured out. So before I forget, what I did was I recently started a free school community. And if you haven't heard about School, it's this Alex Hormozy-backed platform that's absolutely blowing up. It's just incredible. So I have a free school community, the link is below, called Retirement for Teachers. And in this community, all we do is talk about retirement. We talk about pensions. We talk about compounding growth on your retirement accounts. We talk about sick day strategies. We talk about all this stuff and insurance options, which is a big one for a lot of people. So my question is, have you thought about all of those things? Or are you thinking, I got 3 years left until I retire, I'm good? No, you're probably not good because the 3 years is going to go by like that. So you've got to put some thought and planning into this, and it's going to make retirement so much easier. And trust me, if you ask any retired teacher you know, from your own district, if you see them, if they come back or whatever, it's phenomenal. My buddies and I like to say it's indescribable. That's how awesome it is. It's absolutely indescribable. I am enjoying my retirement as a former teacher. It's wonderful, and I want you to do the same. But a lot of teachers that I talk to, they're not thinking about this stuff. Some of them haven't even talked about life insurance or survivor benefits that might be available. Some of them haven't exactly planned out how old they're going to be when they retire and what access to different retirement accounts they have. And of course, your financial planner is there to guide you with that. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a tax expert. I know how a lot of this stuff works, but I implore you to talk to your financial advisor and say, okay, are we on the right track? Because I was going to leave at 53. That'll be my 30 years. Am I good? And they say, oh, well, you can't access this account for, blah, blah, blah. So that's where you gotta think about that stuff. Have you calculated your pension? It's a number. I mean, you don't have to get it to the penny, but you got to know that number. And I tell people, you got to lay all the numbers on the table and say, okay, this is what I'm making now. This is what I'll be making with my pension. Okay, could I pull from this account? Or I was going to get a part-time job with one of my college buddies or a neighbor friend. He said he'd hire me, pay me this amount. Okay, okay, we're good. Have you done that? Or are you just blindly going down the railroad tracks, just hoping that everything will work itself out? So I invite you to join the school community, Retirement for Teachers, and that's all we talk about. There's a live stream feature. I'm calling it the Teacher's Lounge. We can do question and answer. We can pick a certain topic. We can talk about Social Security. We can talk about insurance. We can talk about calculating your pension. We can talk about the various retirement accounts. Anything you guys want to talk about, but you got to talk about it. As you think about, you go through your typical school day. Just there's the stress of getting through the day. There's confrontation with the one student, after lunch that seems to happen every day. You got the open houses, the parent-teacher conferences, you got your observations. You don't really have much time to just sit down on your prep hour and think about something other than school. So I'm telling you, you got to do that. You have to put in the time now, and it'll make the retirement phase so much more smooth of a transition. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. I love this back and forth. I am looking for the tribe of teachers who are serious about talking about their retirement, are excited about retirement, and are planning for their retirement, because it's an awesome feeling. So if that's you, you found the right spot. I'd love to have you subscribe to get the upcoming videos. We're going to be talking about all of these topics that pertain to you, a current teacher who's got a timeline of when you are planning on retiring, whatever that horizon looks like. For many of you, it's probably 3 to 5 years. Some of you, it's 10 years. I would love to get some people that are 20 years away. If you're 20 years away, you could have an unbelievable retirement if you seed those retirement accounts, especially really pump those things. And through the power of compounding interest, you could be sitting on a gold mine in addition to your pension, right? Our pension is kind of the backbone of our retirement, but there's other things that come into play too. We talk about all of that stuff. So follow for more. There's more upcoming. Check out the school link. It's in the bio, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.